All right, if you're a beekeeper anywhere that gets snow, you know this feeling. You wake up after a huge snowstorm, you look outside, and your hives are just buried. And that one big question hits you: should I go out there and dig them out? Well, today we're going to dive right into that very debate.
I mean, it's a really tough call, right? On the one hand, you're thinking, my bees are trapped, they can't breathe. But on the other hand, maybe you're just messing with something that's perfectly natural. So what's the deal? Is that snow a warm protective blanket, or is it a suffocating death trap?
To get to the right answer, we first have to know what we're actually fighting against. We need to identify the real enemy for a honeybee colony in the dead of winter. And, as you're about to see, the thing that seems most obvious usually isn't the biggest threat.
And here it is. This one fact changes everything about how you should think about winter beekeeping. We're all worried about the cold, but honestly, bees are amazing at dealing with that. They form a tight cluster, they shiver, and they generate their own heat. No, the real killer, the #1 enemy, is moisture. Condensation that gets trapped inside the hive can literally rain down on that cluster, chilling the bees and wiping them out. So whatever we do, it's all about managing moisture, not just the cold.
Okay, keeping that moisture issue in mind, let's look at the first side of the argument. This is for all the proactive beekeepers out there, the ones who say, I gotta get out there and clear that entrance. So, what's the thinking behind this?
The #1 reason for clearing the snow is all about ventilation. Makes sense, right? A clear entrance lets all that damp, moist air escape. It also means the bees can get out for what we call cleansing flights on those rare, warmer winter days. And of course, it makes it easier for you to peek in and see what's going on. And it lets the guard bees take care of any pests, like a mouse, trying to find a warm place to stay.
And let's just make sure we're all on the same page with that term, because it is so important for the health of the hive. Bees are super clean. They will not go to the bathroom inside their own home. So these cleansing flights are their only chance all winter to get outside and relieve themselves. Now imagine if the entrance is totally blocked on that one perfect sunny 45-degree afternoon. They miss their chance, and that can lead to disease spreading in the colony.
So, the case for clearing seems pretty solid. You've got better airflow, healthier bees, it all makes sense. But, hold on. Let's flip the coin and look at the very powerful argument for doing, well, absolutely nothing. The case for just letting that snow be.
The whole leave-it-alone philosophy really comes down to this one simple, powerful fact, that snow isn't a trap, it's nature's perfect insulation. Seriously, think of an igloo. The snow creates this amazing thermal buffer that shields the hive from those brutal winter winds and crazy temperature drops.
So when you go out there and shovel away that snow, you're literally ripping off their winter blanket. Plus, all the stomping and scraping can send vibrations through the hive, which totally stresses out the bees. It can cause them to break their life-saving cluster and waste a ton of energy. And here's another thing. Digging them out might trick them into flying on a day that feels warm right at the entrance, but is actually lethally cold just a few feet away.
Okay, so let's put it all side by side. On one hand, clearing the snow helps with ventilation and lets the bees take those important cleansing flights. The downside, you lose that incredible insulation and risk stressing out the colony. On the other hand, leaving the snow provides that amazing insulation and mimics how bees survive in nature. The risk, you might trap some moisture, especially if your hive doesn't have a good top vent. You see the problem, right? It's a classic trade-off.
So, where does this leave us? We've got good arguments on both sides of the fence. What do the pros say? What do the beekeepers who've been doing this for decades in places with brutal winters actually recommend? Let's get to the expert verdict.
Overwhelmingly, the consensus among experienced northern beekeepers is trust the snow. They argue that the benefits of that natural insulation are just too good to give up. And they point out that snow is actually pretty porous, so even a hive that's completely covered still gets enough oxygen to breathe. This is especially true if you did your homework in the fall and made sure your hive has an upper entrance or a vent to let all that dangerous moisture escape out the top.
But look, what if you're still worried? What if you're the kind of person who just has to do something? I get it. Well, there is a very popular compromise, a middle ground. The trick is to be smart about it. Wait for a day that is genuinely warm and sunny. Then go out and very gently, very carefully, just clear a small path right in front of the entrance. You're not excavating the whole hive, you're just opening the front door for a few hours, while leaving all that fantastic insulation everywhere else.
So, we've walked through the pros, the cons, the expert advice, and a practical compromise. What's the bottom line here? If you remember just one thing from all this, what should it be? Let's boil it all down.
This is it. This is the key. Our gut instinct is often to jump in and fix things. But in this situation, the snow is already providing one of the most critical things your bees need to survive: stable insulation. More often than not, the best course of action is to trust nature and let it do its thing.
And you know, that really brings us to the most important point. At the end of the day, all beekeeping is local. What works perfectly in northern Canada might not be the right call for someone in, say, Virginia. This explanation gives you the why, but now the question is really for you to answer. How do these ideas apply right where you live? The best thing you can do is talk to other beekeepers in your area, learn what they do, and become an expert in your own backyard.